Welcome back to Living It Away. This next subject is a sensitive one having to do with inappropriate behavior. We found out what's the law about sexual harassment.
Today we're talking about where sexual harassment crosses the line and when criminal and civil actions are brought to bear. We're bringing in Coralie Chun Matsuyoshi to tell us more and give us a little bit more insight on this. Coralie, let's talk about sexual harassment. Do you mind explaining that to everybody real quick?
Sure. So most people think that sexual harassment is just unwelcome sexual advances or requests for sexual favors, but it also includes sexist remarks or demeaning ones. So it's kind of like both sides of the coin, showing too much love or too much hate. So sexual harassment happens most often in the workplace setting, and in Hawaii, it is against the law to make sexual conduct a condition of employment or promotion or raises, or if it interferes with someone's work performance, or if it creates a hostile work environment. So it is not okay for your supervisor or coworker to touch your butt or constantly share dirty photos or jokes or preach that women don't belong in the workplace.
What should somebody do if they are feeling sexually harassed?
They should immediately report it to their supervisor or HR. You can also file a complaint with the Hawaii Civil Rights Commission or Federal and Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, and those processes are free. They can investigate, and if they find merit, they can order the employer to pay you money damages as the complainant. And you can also hire a lawyer to file a lawsuit.
Let's talk about the money damages for a little bit. Are they liable for money damages caused by their sexual harassment?
Well, in Hawaii, it's the employer who is held responsible. If the employer knows or should have known that the sexual harassment was going on, they need to stop it. And some insurance policies cover sexual harassment, but most do not. So it's really important for employers to have policies and training and reporting procedures in place to prevent and respond to sexual harassment complaints.
Okay, so this is a question that I kind of wanted to ask you. When does sexual harassment become criminal?
Yeah, sexual harassment itself is not criminal, but some of the acts themselves are crimes like sexual assault. So there are different degrees of sexual assault depending on the amount of compulsion used or the degree of contact or the age of the victim. So it can range from rape, which is a felony, to indecent exposure, which is a petty misdemeanor. Bill Cosby and Harvey Weinstein are prime examples of sexual abuse. They went all the way. And so my podcast on sexual crimes also includes the definition and penalties for sex trafficking, child pornography, invasion of privacy, and date rape. So in Hawaii, no means no. And if someone falls asleep or they're too drunk to give consent, and you go ahead and do that sexual assault anyway, that is date rape.
Is there a limitation for sex abuse?
So for criminal prosecutions, each state has its own time limitations and when criminal charges need to be brought against the abuser. Pennsylvania has a statute of limitations of 12 years after the acts occurred. So Bill Cosby probably won't have to face another criminal prosecution because those occurrences happened too long time ago. In 2014 in Hawaii, the legislature eliminated statute of limitations for first and second degree sex assault and continuous sex assault of a minor. So now it's like murder, where there's no time limitations for these criminal offenses. For civil actions, again, each state has its own time limitations. And in Hawaii, adult victims need to file within 2 years of the incident, and minors have a little longer time to sue for money damages.
Piggybacking on money damages real quick, can victims of sex abuse sue their abusers or entities responsible for money damages?
Yes, they can, and they do. Victims can sue their abusers like Bill Cosby or Larry Nassar or R. Kelly. And they can also sue their employers or other entities that have responsibility or control over the abuser, like the U.S. Olympics Committee or the Boy Scouts or the Catholic Church or Kamehameha schools, or even Uber if their drivers sexually assault their riders. Civil actions are easier to prove. The standard is more likely than not that it happened versus beyond a reasonable doubt in criminal cases. And the verdict in a civil case doesn't have to be unanimous like in a criminal case. A lot of these cases often settle because then the amounts and the details of the case are private. They're not part of public record. It also avoids having the victims go through through additional trauma. And it also provides the defendant with finality because the accuser usually releases all future liability in these settlement agreements.
I know everybody knows that you have some podcasts. Are there any other podcasts that you would like to mention to all of our viewers?
Yes, well, I have the opportunity. I have a drug podcast coming up, From Fentanyl to Marijuana, What's Legal? What does Catherine Kealoha's brother, what is he accused of doing, and how much marijuana can you possess without going to jail? And for firearms, the procedure for getting a gun permit, whether you can carry a firearm concealed or openly. There's actually a case before the U.S. Supreme Court about open carrying guns, like a gunslinger or the holster. And what happens if your firearm is lost or stolen, if there's liability if someone gets hurt with your gun? All that and more.
Coralie, thank you so much for talking with us about sexual harassment. You cleared up a lot of things that I know I was thinking of. Everyone, we're going to have more information on KHON2.com. Have a great day, Coralie.
Thank you, Mikey.
You can find all her podcasts. She goes over everything from that to COVID vaccine and some back issues of her podcast.